to our main event. Tonight, we're all going to step into a time machine. Back to the fall of 1983, when some of the most spectacular college football was ever played in, of all places, Lincoln, Nebraska. Thanks to a collection of some of the most explosive players of their time, college football was introduced to what we know as the scoring explosion, and they are here tonight. Let's start with the quarterback.
The 42. 1:54 left in the first half. That's Fryar in motion at the bottom of the screen. Turner Gill gonna run it. And he has a lot of running room. First down at the 40, 35, 30. He's to the 20.
Now, if they managed to figure out Turner, then he just handed off to this guy.
Rozier, here he goes. Here's Rozier. Rozier puts out. 35, 40, 45.
Mike Rozier gains 7, second down and 3. Rozier breaks to the outside. He has the first down to 50. Goodbye. Mike Rozier, touchdown.
Let's hear it for Michael Heisman, whose records stand today. In Camden, New Jersey, number 30, Mike Rozier. And if somehow the defensive coaches on the other side of the field covered Turner, handled Rozier, well, then they'd be in real trouble.
Nebraska with a first down and 10 comes over the ball. They're in the I formation. Rozier at the top of the I, and the toss to Rozier and given to Fryar on the reverse. Running around the right side. He's to the 40, the 35, the 30. He's all the way home for a touchdown.
Look how deep they are. There they are, backing off. Almost to the end line.
New Jersey, number 27, Irving Fryar. Look at these three. They could still play. Look at them, man. Time has eluded all three of them. Wow. Scoring explosion back together for the first time in 15 years at the Nebraska Greats Foundation. How about that? Okay. Did you guys, Turner, start with you. Did you guys know that you were that good? Did you have an inkling from the beginning that, wait a minute, we can do something special here?
See, you see, that's why I said, Mike told us that we were going to be great. So that's all that we knew.
Mike said that you were going to be great.
Yes.
How did you know?
When I was in Coffeyville, Kansas, I supposed to came here with Irv the first year, but I had to go JUCO school through Coffeyville to get to Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I watched them. When I was down in Washington, see what type of players they were. Can I get involved with those situations? But I saw Turner. He came from Texas, little country boy. He was throwing the ball well and everything. I said, yeah, I think I could do that. So I was happy to come here.
So you're hearing stories about these two guys up in Nebraska playing for the freshman team.
Well, me and Irv go way back since 5 years old. Me and Irv grew up together. My mom and his mom went to school together. His dad and my dad worked together back in Jersey. So me and Irv knew. That's why I decided to come to Nebraska. Well, we both did, but had to go a long way, JUCO school to Nebraska.
Well, they were trying to acclimate you to the Great Plains, Mike. That's why we sent you to Coffeyville for a year, Coffeyville, Kansas. We wanted to make sure you were comfortable.
And I appreciate that. We broke some records down there.
Okay, Irv, so you and Mike knew each other way back. Talk about each other as ball players. What was he like as a high school player? Did you know he was capable of doing things like this?
No, I really didn't know that either one of us were capable of accomplishing what we eventually did accomplish. It was just, I guess, the familiarity of being, connected to someone, and us going so far away from home. Our parents were okay with us going together. I didn't want to go to college myself, but my mother made me. So, so we decided to go together. And I was angry with my mother, so I went as far away as I could.
So Joe Paterno comes in and says, if you could just get along with your mom, I'd get you, and Tom Hauser wouldn't get you.
Yes.
So talk about your recruitment to Nebraska. Irv, start with yours. When did you get familiar with Nebraska? How did Nebraska come up?
Well, I have a couple of, someone asked me that question earlier. Nebraska was my worst recruiting trip. When I came to Nebraska, it was on a weekend and it snowed. It must have been 70 inches of snow. And I didn't get outside of the hotel.
A little exaggeration?
No, it was not a little exaggeration. It was the most snow I'd ever seen in my life. I'd never seen that much snow in my life, and it was cold. As cold as I've ever experienced in my life. This is not the same as New Jersey cold. This is a whole nother level of cold. So it was not my best recruiting trip. But here's something interesting that took place my first day on campus. And I'm not sure if this set the tone or not for how things were going to be for the next 4 years, but this actually happened, Nebraskans. We reported, Turner and I, on August 13th, 1980, which is Turner's birthday, August 13th. I'll never forget his birthday because that's the day we reported. We went to the dorm, put our stuff in the dorm. I'm walking from Able dorm down to the stadium, going to report because there was some meeting or something that we had. And as I'm walking down the sidewalk, there's this Caucasian girl walking towards me. And as we get closer, we connect, our eyes connect, and then we get close enough for us to hear one another. And she starts saying, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm like, "Okay, Nebraska's going to be all right, And we get a little closer. We get close enough to where we can touch, and she grabs my hand and starts rubbing my hand, and I'm like, "Oh, Nebraska's going to be real nice." And then she said, I wanted to touch you because I've seen black people on TV before, but I've never seen them in person. That's my first day, August 13th, 1980.
For real?
Yeah, that really happened.
Well, you should see me in Coffeyville.
That really happened. That really happened. So I don't know if I think things got better.
Yeah.
From that point on, but that was a little bit of a shock to me because I didn't get a chance to really interact with anybody, and particularly students, when I was here on my recruiting trip.
But you found out that college wasn't so bad after all.
No, it's great. Nebraska, the University of Nebraska, the state of Nebraska, the people in Nebraska, you are the best. You're the best for sure.
TG, yeah, absolutely. TG, you are not under the recruiting radar, okay? Fort Worth, Texas, Oklahoma's after you. In fact, Barry Switzer has a picture of when you went to one of his camps. It's you and Barry with the caption, "The next great Sooner quarterback," okay? And he never did get a win over you, which I'm sure he carries to this day. But how did Nebraska get into the picture for you when it looked for so long as though you'd be an Oklahoma guy?
Well, obviously, guys took care of it, no question about that. But really, I grew up being saying, hey, if Oklahoma offered me a scholarship, that's where I'm going. That was kind of my dream school. Fairly quickly here is that really a teammate of mine in high school, his dad played at Nebraska, a guy by the name of Darrell Cooper, I believe in the 60s there that he had played there. And so he sent my tape up to Nebraska. They took a look at it and obviously wanted to recruit me and had me to come up. I came up on a visit, kind of similar to really what Irving was talking about. It was cold, being from Dallas, Fort Worth area and coming up and all that. But I understood that and knew that. But I think the heart of the recruiting part of it all is really I wanted to play both sports. Oklahoma's going to allow me to play both sports. Nebraska's going to allow me to play both sports. And then it came down to really, I think the really thing that tipped it over for me to come here was really the one thing that Tom had his wife, Nancy, on a trip. I think he had a function there in Fort Worth or the Dallas-Fort Worth area that they were going to go to together. And he brought Nancy over with him to visit with me at my home. And after the visit, my mom and my dad was really said that was very, very, very special that he brought his wife to come and visit with us. And so that tipped it over for my mom and my dad. It was really kind of a scenario to say, hey, if he does those type of things, that's the kind of man that I want to be having with my son to help him to do the things he needs to do, not only with his education, but playing the game of football, a man that is trustworthy to be able to do those things of that nature. So if I had to say really down inside, maybe I have never told that story, but that's really what tipped it over for both of us as far as my mom and dad and myself.
So how did Coach Switzer take the news?
Wasn't very good. Actually, what happened that night, they were supposed to come over and visit with me that night as far as the baseball coach, Scotty Hill, who was the assistant coach, and then Switzer. But I told them, don't come down. We had already planned it for them to come visit. I called and say, hey, I'm committing to Nebraska. You don't need to come down anymore. They decided to come anyway. And then Lance Van Zant, who was the defensive coordinator at that time and also recruited me, he ended up calling a guy from Texas A&M who lived in Dallas and said that he talked to my parents, he talked to our high school coach, and he says, we got to hide Turner.
You got to hide Turner. Hide
so
Turner.
They ended up talking to my parents, and they ended up, I stayed over at this person's house in Dallas the night before the signing date so that nobody knew where I was located, so that Oklahoma coaches wouldn't find me to maybe try to get me from that. And so obviously I ended up signing here, but that was a little bit of a story there.
So you can just imagine, okay, here's Barry Switzer going, where the hell's that kid? You got to find him someplace in Dallas, Texas. He's the best football player in Texas. How do you lose the best two or three assistant coaches probably got fired over that. And he says, I'll bring my wife down. I'll bring my mother down. I'll bring whatever woman you want me to bring down.
It was done. Husker, Tom Osborne, the man.
He called you guys the triplets. I mean, he saw you guys on film and says, this is going to be a problem for us because that's what we used to have. You know, guys like Gill, Rozier, Fryar, we used to have that. And he nicknamed you the triplets. He did admire what you guys did. Did you ever have any conversations with him at all, Turner, or you guys with Barry, with a rivalry with Oklahoma after you signed?
I just had a short conversation with probably a few years after I've done playing, and kind of had that little look in his eye. He still kind of was a little ticked off. It's kind of what it is. Short and right to me and saying, "Man, I missed you. I missed you," and I'm still ticked off about it. So that was about it.
Okay, so offensively, did they talk? Because today in recruiting, they say, "Okay, you're a perfect fit for our system." Did you guys sense that with Nebraska when you were being recruited, that they would tailor a system for you, or did you just say, this is what they do and I'll adapt to it? Mike?
Well, I knew Nebraska featured I-backs, and I was in Coffeyville, and I'm Hip, Jarvis Ron, some great I-backs, Roger Craig. So when I was in high school, I was an I-back and fullback, but they put me in fullback, so I hit the hole quicker. I get down field faster. But when I came in Nebraska, I just wanted to play ball. I mean, I knew they featured I-backs, and I was in Coffeyville, Kansas. We were in a wishbone. So I wanted to come here and just show off, to be honest with you. I'm from Jersey. That's what we do. Anyway, we played the red-white game, and we had some big guys on the defense. And I had I forgot what I had, 180, 200 on the first defense. They said, who the hell is this guy? I come from Coffeyville. I'm coming here to play. All right? I cried caught the Greyhound bus to Coffeyville to Nebraska with a duffel bag. Now, no luggage, a duffel bag. I got 6 brothers. Mom and Dad couldn't afford to fly me to Nebraska. So I'm crying all the way here. I said, I got to make sure I'm good. And it worked out. I mean, Coach Osborne welcomed me, Frank Soda. No, Mike Corrigan. Then it was Frank Soda. Yeah, so Mike I was average running back, but Mike Corrigan made me more stronger. He told me how to run over people and run through them and get down the field. He told me, if you get down closer to the touchdown, you miss 2 yards, we're going to put somebody else in. So I always try to get in.
Yeah. You can take it all the way to the 2, but if you don't put it into the 2, if you don't put it in from the 2, you're
Someone
out.
else is coming in. I'm telling you. I said, I got to get in there. I got to get in.
We'll send you back to Coffeyville if you don't put it in the end zone. Irv, what did they talk to you about when they recruited you? How did they see you as a kick returner? Because, you were a kick returner and a receiver. You probably played multiple positions in high school. What did they talk to you about?
Well, I wasn't your typical receiver in high school. I was more of a tight end, and I was being recruited by all the schools as a defensive back, a safety. So that's what I came here to play, was safety. When they recruited me at University of Nebraska, and I have a similar story as Turner. The tipping, or the thing that tipped the scale for us, was when Coach Osborne came to my house, and he sat, he listened to my sister play the piano, and he drank the tea I made, and that was pretty special for him to sit in our living room and to spend time with our family. My mother thought that was really significant, and that was the type of man that if I was going to be around for the next 4 years, that's the type of man she would want me around. But I was recruited as a defensive back, so I didn't come here to play offense, so they weren't pitching wing back to me because I didn't know what a wing back was. I was a blocking, in high school I blocked as a tight end on defense, but I was an All-American defensive back and punt returner. So when I came here, I was recruited as a defensive back, but when I got here, 2 or 3 days into practices, they tried me on offense, and I never went back to defense. So that's how I ended up being a wingback. Yeah.
Irving Fryar has easily the most breathless vertical speed of any football player of the last 50 years here. 4.21 40. Is that correct? 4.21 40-yard dash.
Yes.
World-class speed.
That's when I was, 20.
That's when he was young.
Yeah. That's when I was 20 years old, 22, 23.
Now he's a 4.29 40.
No, I had a couple of steps to lose, yes, but I don't know if it's 4.3 or 4.2 now, no.
How did you not get on the track team? Why were the track coaches?
I did run track.
Yeah.
I did run track during the wintertime. I ran track actually to get out of winter conditioning.
Yeah, we did. We both did.
Yeah, we both ran track.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go through winter conditioning, so I ran track. I actually was the Big 8 champion in the 60 for a couple of years. Yeah, so I did run track.
All right, so Turner's baseball player. Turner talked about 2 sports. Coach Gill was recruited for 2 sports, and Tom said, who typically did not say, okay, it's okay to play 2 sports, but for you, you can play 2 sports to get to Nebraska. But you came very close to becoming a professional baseball player out of high school. Talk about that.
Yeah, growing up, baseball was my first love. Kind of was a place where I grew up playing with a lot of older players when I was 12, 13, playing with the 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And I was a pitcher and also played shortstop, and that was probably a little bit more of a standout at that time. The high school I went to and played football, I didn't play quarterback until my senior year. We had another guy that was pretty talented, and he played quarterback, and I played receiver and played defensive back. So really I thought about baseball was really the place that I would go. I ended up signing with the Nebraska, then I ended up getting drafted later on in that June draft, and I got drafted in the 2nd round by the Chicago White Sox. And that was a concern. I know what Coach Osborne was thinking, well, you're going to sign. I may end up losing him and going into the draft and all that. And obviously, I didn't have a whole lot to do with it. My parents kind of dealt with it all, but I think really it came down to about $20,000. What made a difference for me coming to Nebraska or going to play professional baseball. But again, God was in his hands in it, and obviously the right thing to do was to come to Nebraska, and I wouldn't be sitting here today and really celebrating with being with my wife that I met here in Nebraska and all the other great things that I've accomplished in my career.
So you did play professional baseball after Nebraska. You made an attempt at professional baseball. That had to be a tough transition from all those years of football, even though you did play a little baseball at Nebraska, but then you did have a shot at professional baseball.
Yeah, baseball was a challenge, and it was very, very difficult. 3 or 4 years I had not played baseball, and then to end up trying to compete with that at that level was very difficult, to travel and doing all those things. My wife, she would go into 4 different places that we were, for an example, we lived in Lincoln, Nebraska. We go to Lincoln, Nebraska to Tucson, Arizona. They would fly me there. She would have to drive there. Then we went from Tucson, Arizona, going to Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Again, I fly from Tucson to Williamsport, Pennsylvania with the team. She would have to drive there. She would get her mom or her sister or somebody to help her drive. And then we went from Williamsport, Pennsylvania to Sarasota, Florida. So we did that for 3-4 years. And so, again, my wife has been great to show her my love for me and all the things that she's been through as far as those type of things. So. But I grew a lot in a lot of ways, and we grew a lot in our marriage and all those things too, as far as the ups and downs about the baseball part of it. So I lost the love of it and decided to move on and become a coach, and Coach Osborne had an impact on that.
And Coach Gill, of course, was part of the staff of some of Nebraska's great teams in the 1990s. And so proud of the contributions that Turner did as a coach, mentoring players like Eric Crouch and Brooke Behringer and some of the other great quarterbacks that we've had under Coach Turner Gill's tutelage. So they learned a little bit from the old mentor, when they were taking snaps at Nebraska. Irv, you played 17 seasons in the National Football League, the #1 pick in the draft. I mean, you guys... Mike was the #1 pick in the USFL draft. Irving was the #1 pick in the NFL draft. And Dean Steinkuhler was a first-round draft choice. He was #2. So we basically had the top 3 college football players in the country. And as you look back now, all those years later, did you have any idea of what kind of material was on that team?
No. Hindsight is 20/20. You know that. We were young and just going at it, just having fun. We didn't realize what we actually had. I think one of the things for me was, going from sophomore year to junior year to senior year and having the opportunity, all 3 of those years, to win the national championship. And the one team that we lost to those years won the national championship. I was really more focused on that. When I came out of college football, I was really disappointed that we did not win a national championship. I don't like people saying, well, this is the best team that's ever never won a national championship. I don't like that. Don't say that.
Don't say that.
It's just, so I didn't feel like we accomplished what we could have accomplished. Putting the nail in the coffin, winning those national championships really would have been the icing on the cake. So when I left college football, I really left a little bit disappointed. I don't necessarily focus on the good things that have happened to me. I kind of focus on the negative things. I don't know if anybody else is like that. I still replay that pass I dropped in the Orange Bowl. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, they still remember that.
Yeah. But you?
No, I'm just saying, I still remember it. I replay it. We still scored, and we still went for 2, so it didn't actually make a difference, but I still remember that. So when I left college football, I was not necessarily satisfied. And I'm one of those people that use negative things for fuel. So no, I didn't realize, I can't speak for these other 2 guys. I didn't realize what we had. I did know that we could do something special. I did know that we had the talent to win the national championship and to win a lot of games and to overcome anything that had come against us on the field. But when you look at, Mike being the first pick in the USFL draft, me being the first pick in the NFL draft that year, and Dean Steinkuhler being the second pick in the NFL draft that same year, and all 3 of us coming from the same team, yeah, that's phenomenal. That's the testament to the abilities of the coaches at the University of Nebraska, not only to recruit great talent, but to get the best talent out of the talent that they recruit.
Turner, you were the trigger man, started for 3 years at quarterback. That 83 offense was insane. You guys scored 654 points in 13 games. You hung 48 on Colorado in 1 quarter, okay? 84 on Minnesota, the most ever scored against a Power 5 conference team. You had to spread the ball around to keep people healthy. It was amazing.
Can I interject? No,
Yeah.
The ball did not get spread around.
Yeah.
Let me.
You were shortchanged, Irv.
Mike. No.
First,
No.
See, it's all coming out now, folks.
Only played 2 quarters. Only played 2 quarters.
No, none of us. First of all, none of us. Near 3 of us. Is that country?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay. Near 3 of us played, except for the bowl game, the whole game.
That's
our
right.
Senior year. None of us.
Like 50% of
because
them.
we beat everybody. The ball always touched Turner's hands first. Correct?
Yep.
Mike averaged touching the ball 30 times a game. He averaged 30 times a game. You know how many times I averaged touching the ball a game?
But you was blocking well.
5 times a game.
You was blocking well. You blocked
5 times a game.
You told you.
And yes, I was blocking. That's how you got the Heisman. Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing. It was difficult for me my first couple of years in the NFL. Why? Because I was not a receiver at the University of Nebraska. I was a wingback. I blocked.
Yeah.
So now I'm in the NFL standing up on both feet with someone standing right in front of me. I got to figure out how to get around them and run a route.
But don't get mad at me. You mad at Coach Osborne. He ran a pitch all the time.
Coach Osborne.
38 pitch, 39 pitch.
No, the question was the ball being spread around. The ball did not get spread around.
And so Turner.
Did we win? The ball was Mike's ball.
Did we win?
As a matter of fact, no. Let's let the people know the truth.
Tell the truth.
He would come into halftime, right, Turner? Because Mike would come into halftime.
Don't try to get Turner involved with it.
Mike would come into halftime because Mike knew we weren't going to play the whole game. He would come into halftime and tell Coach Osborne, Coach, I need the ball more. I'm not going to play the whole game. I need the ball more. I see Jamie Williams. Is that Jamie over there?
Yeah, Jamie Williams is here. Stand up, Jamie. Number 80.
Hey, Jamie over there.
In 81-82, tight end from Davenport, Iowa.
Dr. Williams.
Great to have Jamie here.
Oh, by the way, Coach Osborne came yesterday. He made a mistake. He thought it was yesterday for the event. So he would love to be here, but I said, Coach, I sent you Uber. He said, nah, I'm not coming back. But he showed up. He was downstairs with us. That's it.
Turner, obviously, Irving's been lugging this baggage around now for 35 years. You know,
you ain't lying.
You know, you needed to audible out of some of those pitch plays to get the ball to number 27.
The audibles?
Yeah, the audibles.
Well, the audibles was all on me. You know,
So blame him.
He was my roommate for the first year or so.
And he never said, "Give me the ball more."
About that fight we had, man. We'll just leave it at that. That's just a story. We had a little fight, but that was a fight called a love.
Talk about this little skirmish between you two guys.
I took something on his side of the bed, and we kind of got mad at each other and all that. So we had a wrestling match, the simplest way to play.
A wrestling match? How'd that go?
A little wrestling match. Then we kissed up and made each other.
Yeah, we were roommates in the dorm our freshman year.
Yeah.
And we were always roommates.
I wasn't there then.
All 4 years.
I was in Coffeyville?
You were in
Coffeyville. You were in Seville.
In Coffeyville. But that happens.
Oh, yeah. That's what I say. We in love.
Texas guy, New Jersey guy.
Anytime you have an art with a brother, you fix it with your brother, then you gained a friend. And that's it. That's what happened.
I knew you was roommates.
We were roommates our freshman year in the dorm.
Me and Irv was roommates.
My sophomore year.
And he stole next to there was plants. The cops came over and said, "Who took the plants?" I said, "He did."
The love.
Remember that?
Yeah.
All right, going back to your question.
Let's go back to the question. So you should have gotten him the ball a lot more, TG. But here's a stat, friends. You're gonna love this though. Stat.
Take this.
Irving Fryar. Yeah. Okay. There. This. Now you talk about a guy that maximized his chances. So he averages 5 touches a game. I believe this stat, at least through the first 2/3 of the season, you were averaging 25 yards a catch.
I had to. I wasn't going to get the ball anymore.
There's some truth to that.
You got to do something with it when you get it.
So,
Whenever it got boring, we just decided to get a ball to Irving so the fan could stand up and get excited.
But you know,
I'm going to give you a true story about Mike.
all right.
Because Mike he's always been not just the focal point of the team, right, Turner? Mike's was our senior year, and we're playing the team, and Mike runs the ball, and he gets hit. And so he's laying on the ground, and now everybody, because he's not getting up, everybody's quiet. It's like, oh my gosh, Mike's hurt. What's going to happen now? So we go over to Mike, and the trainers come out. George Sullivan, was it? George Sullivan.
He's lying. He's lying.
I'm not lying. We come out. We were over Mike. Mike, you all right? You all right, Mike? Mike looks up. He says, yeah, I'm all right. How's the crowd taking it? Remember that?
That's a true statement. That's true.
He said, yeah, I'm all right. How's the crowd taking it? That's a true story. That's a true story. Let me give you another true story about Mike. We're at Oklahoma State.
Man, stop, man.
No, I'm not stopping. We're at Oklahoma State, and we're supposed to smash them, right? We smashed Oklahoma State every time we played them. So we're away at Oklahoma State. Leave my mic on. Don't turn my mic off. So Mike is back for kickoff return. Coach Osborne didn't put Mike back that often, but he's back for kickoff return. The ball comes to Mike, and Mike catches the ball, and he's not in the end zone, so he got to run, right? He stands there. And he stands there. Y'all probably saw the game, and he stands there a little bit longer. And then he starts running, and he didn't get that many yards. But then he comes to the sideline, and Coach Osborne said, Mike, what were you doing? He said, Coach, I was just trying to give him a chance. True story. That's what I'm like, this guy here, man. I was just trying to give him a chance. We're going to beat him anyway. I was just trying to give him a chance.
And we did beat him.
We did beat him, yes.
Yeah, that was about the only like one score game you had all year. You know, that Oklahoma State game. That got Jimmy Johnson the job in Miami. You know, holding you guys down.
Touchback.
Yeah, touchback. He just lost his place on the field. That's all. Okay, so
right. It was a touchback. He didn't wait. He didn't bring it out. He took it back into the end zone, and gave him 2 points.
We got Johnny Rogers here, and he's about ready to walk out hearing that story about a kickoff return. You know, fair catches, touchbacks. There's Jet over there. Ladies and gentlemen, Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Rogers is here. Jet, great to see you.
Johnny, stand up. There you go.
Okay, get us caught up on what you guys are doing now. Turner, at last report, you were at Arkansas, on the staff at Arkansas. Tell us what you and your great family are doing now.
Yes, last year then Arkansas there as a executive director of player development and staff development, basically just trying to have our student athletes to life skills, teaching them, preparing them for life after football, while they're in football, and then with the staff, just through my experience talking to them about, again, same thing, really some family things going on, some football per se. I really liked the one-on-one small groups and helping people become better in their purpose for their lives. Through the game of football, as I've been part of it all my life, and really enjoyed that. And unfortunately, here at the time, there's been a little bit of change as far as the coach that hired me there. They got a change in their coaching staff. They hired a new head football coach, and so they decided for myself to maybe just go ahead and try something different. They did not decide not to retain me. So I'm trying to check out and see what God's going to lay in the next journey for myself. And again, having a great time there, spending time with my wife and our 2 daughters and all that.
You ain't going to be on the beach long, man. You better enjoy this time off because the calls are coming in. Irving Fryar, like I said, was in the National Football League 17 years, and then you started a second life in a very spiritual way. Talk about your journey and how you now reached out to God and is sharing the message.
Well, I got a call one day, and it was a very profound call. The Lord spoke and said it was time to start ministry. So for the past 16 years, I've been pastoring the New Jerusalem in Mount Holly, where I've been born and raised. But just recently, I started a job at the New Jersey Youth Challenge Academy. We take in 16 to 18-year-old teenagers who are kind of disconnected and who are in danger of not graduating from high school. We place them in a 22-week program, which is 5.5 months. It's a quasi-military program. We're on Fort Dix. They have uniforms and they stay in the barracks, and we, over those 22 weeks, get them GED prepared so they can take their GED test, pass that, graduate from the academy, go on to Job Corps or some branch of the military or some entities that we connect them with. It's a very challenging job. I am the Chief Operations Coordinator for the Youth Challenge Academy, but that's a part of also what I'm doing here in these last couple of years and the years to come. It's very rewarding to see the kids where they come from, where they are when we first receive them, to where they go to and how they achieve and accomplish 5.5 months later.
Michael, what are you up to?
Oh, Lord.
Do we want to know?
Now, I want everybody to look at your table right now. Your loved ones, your friends, whatever. Look at them right now. Tell them you love them. I've been to 5 funerals the last 5 weeks. I'm serious. A lot of people don't do that no more. All right? I'm doing great. I wake up every day, I'm blessed. I got my mom and dad in their 80s. I got my brothers. Look, God is good. Look at me. I've been shot 3 times. I shouldn't be here right now talking to y'all. I should never came to Nebraska. I should be dead. All right? Look at your friends. Look at your family. Take care of each other. All right? That's all. Bye.
I remember when you appeared on the Tonight Show after you won the Heisman Trophy, Mike. You were on with Carson. He was a Nebraska guy, and I just remember he actually asked you about these other guys, and you said, if I could, I'd take that Heisman Trophy and I'd cut it into thirds. I'd give Turner the head, Irving the arms, and me the legs.
Yes.
I'll never forget
No
that.
doubt.
Man. That was cool.
My mom still got it. So they got to come down and cut it up. But you can't. My mom's so loud, it ain't going to happen.
So when Mom gives it up, maybe.
Hey, Mom's in charge.
Before we let you guys go tonight, what does Nebraska mean to you now as you have kids, you've grown up, you're all now moving, we're all moving up there, but it's been 30 plus years since you were around 30 years since you were at Nebraska and played college football. And Turner, you spent a lot of time at Nebraska after you got done playing. But Mike, looking back now, and what does Nebraska mean to you today, to Mike Rozier today?
It means family to me. I mean, a lot of people ask me, why you go back so much? I come back here a lot. It's family to me. Great people. The fans made Nebraska football. We had some coaches that shouldn't have been there, but I don't know why they was here. They understand the program. They understand what the logic of what Nebraska people means. Not just the people, the football teams. We got somebody now. Scott Frost will turn around, y'all. Give him a chance. I swear to God. Give him a chance. All right? I know y'all spoiled. You still winning a lot. But every team's we all rebuild. Scott's the man. I swear to God. Scott's the man. Give him a chance. I love y'all to death. I know you love me, so goodbye.
Irving, you've traveled around the world. I mean, with your ministry, you've traveled around the world, man. You've been at the top. You've been in the Pro Bowl. You've been at the top of the profession. What does Nebraska mean to you now as you're in your 50s?
Wow. Yeah, we're both in our 50s.
You're both in your 50s. Yeah. TG's even in his 50s.
Who brought Bill Callahan in? That's what I wanted to know. Who brought him here?
Come on, man. Don't even mention his name. We having a party. Don't mention
Okay,
Irv.
all right, I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna lighten up. Don't tighten up.
We got 16 schools here, Irv. Yeah.
Anyway, my wife is here, Serena, and she'll testify to this. This is what Nebraska means to me. I've always told her that if things fall apart for us, this is where we're coming. We're coming to Nebraska. Yeah. This is what Nebraska means to me. Nebraska is my home away from home. So if you see me and my wife here living, it's because things fell apart.
But here's the deal, Irving. If things fall apart, the Nebraska Greats Foundation is there for you.
Amen.
You lettered at any of the Turner, you spent a lot of your professional life in Nebraska, but talk, and so people know of your love of the place, but talk about Nebraska now that you've been away for a while.
Well, I think it's relationships. That's how I define Nebraska. It's about relationships, family, the heart and soul of really America. The way I look at it is tight families. Everybody care for each other. They help each other out within their own neighborhoods and cities, states, towns, so on and so forth. Again, there's been so much heartache and pain that has happened here in the state of Nebraska over all the weather and the farmland. As we all know, there's about 85-90% of the land here has to do with the farmers. And they're the heart and soul of the United States of America. And so I believe that Nebraska is all about relationships. And that's why it's such a great place to be, whether it's a short term, long term, but you know that it's always home, is the state of Nebraska.
Well, the state of Nebraska loves you guys, not just because of the incredible feats on the football field and all the great victories you deliver to us, but because of that, because we know you care about the place, and we are family. And thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for helping the Nebraska Greats Foundation help athletes like you who are in need. Ladies and gentlemen, Turner Gill. Irving Fryar, Mike Rozier, 3 superstar Nebraskans.